Do you know that feeling when you walk alone in the streets, but you're scared that someone is following you behind? So you always like look behind you, but then you remember that you're actually the psychopath. No?
My friend hired a scientist for her daughter's birthday, and this is how it went.
Oh, wait, that's not ice. That's not cold ice. And something very cold. Oh, let's see what happens. A lot of smoke. So I want everybody to cup their hands like this. Oh, it feels cold. You don't have to back up. It's okay. Go.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're baptizing. And you next.
You're a real unicorn. It's like a real unicorn.
Now what? Two, one.
What is most important to you in life?
Not being stupid.
Can you hear whoever raised Peterson speaking through his mouth there? Screaming at that little boy, "Don't be stupid, Jordy!" so harshly that he is still unable to let go of that wound 60 years later. I can see the disgust in his face for himself. And for me, it's heartbreaking. This clip is heartbreaking in a way that most men's identities are heartbreaking today. Let's look at it. There are two forms of identity. The first is negative identity. Not negative as in bad, but negative as in what we're not, like negative space in art. Negative identities are a very valuable step in identity construction, usually in adolescence. We can move from, well, I'm not going to be problematic like my father, to I am a safe and stable partner and parent. Great. In adults, they become problematic, especially in groups where negative identities create prejudice, like how some people have strong negative identities of not being black, for example. That's the identity root of racism. Positive identities are the corollary of negative identities. Positive identities are about who we are. This appears pretty self-explanatory until we see that most of the positive identities culturally accessible to men today are just thinly veiled negative identities. For example, when you hear guys say, "I'm 100% straight," that is a negative identity dressed as a positive identity. The same thing is true for the whole tough guy, dominant alpha thing. These guys whose identities center around these ideas have internalized the belief that someone's going to be up and someone's going to be down, and they're trying to make sure that they aren't the ones getting dominated. This creates a cycle in communities where dominance is prioritized, where men are all trying to act tough in ways that prevent them from actually having emotional connections with one another or sharing how they feel. If everybody's trying to be the alpha, there's no room to talk about how rocky your relationship is or how you feel really unfulfilled. I know it's easy to look at that and laugh, but it is incredibly, tragically, heartbreakingly sad, not to mention profoundly dangerous. People with only negative identities, like most men, live in a fragile shell, a cage constructed of all the things that we must not be in order to be loved. And they're constantly terrified of those things breaking through that shell and revealing that they actually have no idea who they are, whether they're lovable. When you ask someone, what is the most important thing to you, you're in essence asking them who they are. You're asking what their top priority is, what defines them. So healthy people might answer, my family, or protecting the environment, or even vague things like being a good person. That's a loose but positive identity. If someone answers that question with a thinly veiled negative identity, like being dominant, or being straight, or even being white, whoo, you just learned a lot about that person. You just learned a lot. For someone to answer the question, what's most important to you, with an outright negative identity, that is an impressively forthright level of unresolved trauma. And that's what we see in Peterson here. You are very smart, Dr. Peterson. I hope that someday you learn what it is to be healed and to have a grounded, positive self-identity. And I hope that you stop harming other people by passing on your unresolved traumas. I hope that for us all.
All right, I've got proof of how your side is just as bad as mine. Could we not do this today? I'm just getting over COVID and I really don't have the energy for this. Oh my God, you still think COVID is real? Sorry, I just think that is so funny and honestly kind of cute. Yeah, and I think that it's not so much funny and cute, but horrifying and genuinely upsetting how you managed to believe that a global pandemic that was observably happening across the entire planet was somehow a false or overblown narrative being fueled by partisan American politics. Like, genuinely, for the rest of my life, I'll never understand that one. Such a good little sheep. God damn it, you suck. Man, you really do. Ouch! So much for the tolerant left, am I right? Let's just... Didn't you say that, you had something to show me? Or, yeah. Do you remember when you said this? If it really is just as bad on both sides, prove it. Yeah, I remember that. And how the did you just do that? How'd I do what? You made real life cut away to one of my TikTok videos. I'm shaking right now. I'm so scared. Oh, it's not that hard. Watch. I'm a soy boy. I'm a big liberal male. I like singing for my lady, and I'm kind of scared of Christian Bale. Okay, I hate that. I hate so much that you can do that. Let's just get on with whatever it was that you wanted to say. Okay, so you asked for proof that both sides are just the same. The reason I can't find any is because the media covers it up. Boom. What? Boom. How? How boom? How? What? Who are you even talking about when you say the media? You know, the media. No, I don't know. Come on, don't act like you don't know. The media has a massive left-leaning bias. Which outlets, which members specifically of the media are you referring to? The whole thing. All of them. You know, the lying, fake news, liberal media. So there are no media outlets with a right-leaning bias? I don't understand the question. Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, The Daily Wire. Yeah, so... Breitbart, PragerU, InfoWars. I don't really think that those are... Louder with Crowder, Libs of TikTok, PureFlix. You really feel like you don't have adequate representation in the media? Do any of those really qualify as... I mean, I'll fully agree, you have shitty representation. I wouldn't want any of those outlets being my only source, or a source at all, for hard-hitting journalism or truth. But you do have people on your team who work in the media. In fact, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a left-leaning news outlet that wears its political bias as openly and brazenly as Fox News or any of the other outlets I just mentioned. At least Fox News tells the truth. You have to be absolutely f***ing kidding me. How are you not aware that Fox News is actively wrapped up in a billion-dollar defamation lawsuit that brought out tons and tons of private text messages from multiple Fox News personalities where just over and over again they admit to lying on air? They admit that they think Donald Trump is a dangerous idiot, that the 2020 election wasn't stolen, that people like Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell and Mike Lindell are insane lunatics, and that they lie to you, their audience, about them because they know you, their audience, will believe literally anything they say. Sometimes when the evidence gets this clear, it feels like your brain just Control-Alt-Deletes and you become a brick wall incapable of absorbing any new input. Okay, I'm gonna read something to you just as a test. I just want to see what your brain retains. You with me so far? Okay, these are actual text messages from Tucker Carlson about his true feelings that he doesn't share with his TV audience. We are very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait. I hate him passionately. Okay, how much of that did you get? You said, these are some actual text messages from Tucker Carlson, and then there was just like a gray fog that descended over my vision and my brain until you asked how much I got. Wow. I mean, if nothing else, that is just fascinating.
This has been We're Not the Same.